Hey, everybody, we're back today with another top 10 song list. This time we're going to take a look at The Doors. I'm here with Gary from Physical Format Rock and Roll. We've done a few things together, the Rolling Stones, Bruce Springsteen, and the Kinks. And this time it is The Doors, one of the great American rock bands of the 60s. Uh, a lot of the bands in the 60s were from the other side of the pond, as they say. And I think the Doors, along with groups like the Beach Boys, CCR, and the Byrds, stand at the top of the rung as far as American rock and roll. And of course, they carried on the bulk of their work from 67 to 71. Of course, Jim Morrison, his untimely death. We're only considering, I believe, the albums that the six albums that the original Doors did together. I'm not going to include any songs post Jim Morrison. Yeah. So anyway, quickly, Gary, how you doing? How's it going? We haven't been together in a week or two.
Yeah, doing great, Rich. Glad to be here. Glad to enjoy this topic. I love the Doors. I agree with what you said about being, one of the better American bands. You're right. Out of the 60s, everybody was coming over from England. And all of a sudden, here come the Doors from California.
Yeah. I know, and they made their mark, and from 67 to 71, so 4 or 5 year span. They put out 6 really good albums. I think all their albums are good.
I agree,
or excellent. Of course, the name Doors comes from the Aldous Huxley book, The Doors of Perception, which is pushing the limits. And through drug use, I guess. Jim Morrison had no problem with that. And the story goes, Ray Manzarek met Jim on Venice Beach, California, on the beach itself. He read him some poetry. Morrison read Ray some poetry. He liked what he heard, and he thought he could turn that into music, rock music. And of course, the rest is history. Morrison was a military brat, from what I read. He bounced around the country, grew up in Florida, moved to Texas, Virginia, New Mexico, settled in California. Sort of a smart kid, but an introvert. And I heard there was an accident with him witnessing a car accident as a young child. Native American Indians heard on the side of the road that deeply affected him and put a lot of darkness in his song lyrics. And he referenced it later on in a song called Peace Frog, which is very interesting as well. The Doors music is varied. It can be hard rock, blues, psych, a little garage, a little pop. Of course, they had success on the charts. So they touch all the genres there. Very druggy, dreamy, dark music, reckless at times, trippy, and overtly sexual. So glad we're doing this. And of course, Morrissey's Morrison's early death added to the legacy. I think, he was a big time sex symbol. The ladies loved him. The guys thought he was cool. He had stage presence. Just, iconic rock and roll star. He had a movie made after him, the Oliver Stone movie, The Doors. Really, it's Val Kilmer taking over as Jim Morrison. It was a hell of a performance too. You've seen it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, what do you think of that movie?
I think it's a decent movie. I think I liked it more when it came out. I've seen it since. I'm not sure if he played with the facts. Oliver Stone has a tendency to put a slant on things his way. But what I saw, I would give it a solid 3 stars, 2.5 to 3 stars. It's a good movie.
I liked it. I kind of like what you said. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah. But I think I went and saw it in the movie theater, as I recall, when it came out. And I was impressed.
I definitely did. When I heard it was coming out, I was super.
All right. We like to start our top 10s out with some honorable mentions and give some credit to some of these songs that we wish we could have fit into our list, but didn't quite make the cut. So, Gary, what do you have?
Okay. So what I have, one more thing I kind of wanted to add on the Doors there is I feel like they're also a very polarizing band. Either you are into them and you get it, you buy into it. But a lot of people are kind of like, I think Jim Morrison was a flake. I think his lyrics, his poetry was ridiculous or juvenile. And the Doors music was cocktail music or whatever. You know what I mean? You got some people who just can't stand them. And it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of middle ground. Either you really like the Doors or you don't. There's not too many people go, yeah, they're okay. They got some catchy tunes,
Yeah.
It's not one of those kind of bands.
I think we found that out by talking to other people in the BC, that some people are just out on them. And you're right. It's all or nothing kind of thing.
Okay. So my picks, my honorable mentions, Summer's Almost Gone. I just think that's a kind of a wistful song. Backdoor Man, which of course is a Howlin' Wolf remake, and he just sounds vicious on that song. Spanish Caravan. I love that Spanish guitar in there. The Wasp, Texas Radio and the Big Beat. I just really dig that song, man. And LA Woman. So I love that song, and those are all honorable mentions. All great songs too. I love all those songs.
Yeah, one of them, I won't say which one, but one of them made my list. My honorable mentions, I've got 7 real quick here that I really love these songs, but I just couldn't get them in. The Crystal Ship, Soul Kitchen, I really like that song. People Are Strange, the hit, Hello, I Love You. Love Street, which is they met on Love Street. I like that song. 5 to 1 is another one I really, really wanted to get on. And of course, The End from the end of the first album and part of Apocalypse Now, which is kind of dramatic. Love that song.
Some of yours will be in my top 10 also.
Okay. So. I figured they would be. All right, cool. So we're going to do the usual 10 through 6, do a clump, and then we'll come back and finish our top 5. So you're up first.
Okay, well, starting at number 10 would be Break On Through. Break On Through to the Other Side. What a way to introduce the Doors to the world, right? That's on their first album.
First cut, right?
Yeah. Day destroys the night divides the day. That's how, that's freaking cool right there. Those lyrics, just a fantastic song. Number 9, you already mentioned this, and that would be The Crystal Ship.
Yeah.
Man, to me, that is a good example of him singing really well. It's not like Jim Morrison was the greatest singer in the world. Matter of fact, I don't think he'd ever even sang before they started the Doors. It's kind of, from what I understand, he was kind of like, shy about the whole idea.
Yeah.
But then he obviously caught on. But that song there, it's kind of like, it could be an actual ship in a way, or he could be talking about drugs.
Yeah.
Just taking yourself, probably more drugs. But, when you read the lyrics, it's obviously, hey, we're going somewhere. I'm going to experience different things here, whatever it is. So yeah, it's probably drugs the more I talk about it. Number 8, Waiting for the Sun. That's just another song to me. Great lyrics. And I think that's a big thing about the Doors, is just a lot of really cool lyrics that are basically poetry, put into music, that Robbie Krieger and Ray Manzarek, well, let's put some music to these poems that he's got, 7. Now, if you would have asked me this 20 years ago, this might have been my number 1 song, The End. And like you said, it's hard not to think of the opening of Apocalypse Now. How perfect is that?
Perfect.
You got the flames going up there, and they're playing that song. And it's basically the movie. It's like, here you are, you're going into hell.
Yeah.
Showing Vietnam, and that song, This Is the End, down, down, down. And those lyrics are weird. They're very,
to say the least. Yeah.
Yeah. Very weird lyrics. That song, one of those songs, takes you on a journey. It's kind of one you gotta you got to get into it.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I'm going to listen to this thing. I'm going to see where we're going. And it's just very epic sounding song. Number 6 to end my 5 would be Wild Child. I love that song. I love it. Dun, 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 da, 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 dun, 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 dun. Then they do 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 do. Yeah. Just cool, man. And it's Jim Morrison being the shaman, that he is, and in that song, it just fits. He, talks a little bit about some Native American kind of stuff, and it's just a great song that rocks. Not all the Doors songs rock.
Oh.
They got different moods, which is great.
Yeah.
But that one rocks. That's one of their rocking songs. So
very good.
That's my first 5 there.
I like how not all their songs rock. I think that's cool how they mix it up. Yeah, they have those bluesy numbers. There's some ballads. There's some love songs. There's rockers, of course, and there's some bizarreness to some of these songs, which sets them apart.
Yeah, I agree.
My number 10 is the song I alluded to, Peace Frog. I put this in because it's got that drug-induced autobiographical, it's kind of rambling, but it's catchy, bluesy, funky. It's a deep cut for me. I usually go with hits. It's got that chaotic song structure, blood on the streets, and
all to my ankles.
Right. Yeah. And he's referring to blood all the way through in a lot of these songs. He mentions New Haven, where he had that incident, and he was arrested, I believe, on stage. He was fighting with police or whatever it was. And the Chicago was a political reference to the Democratic Convention in '68. Blood on the streets in the town of Chicago. And I just like that riff that goes with it. And there's also Blood Stains the Roof in Venice, which is Venice, California. And evidently he used to hang out on the rooftop doing acid, dropping acid and writing poetry. That was part of his shtick. And that's, that was his habit of where he went to be alone and write other than the beach. So he's putting his own little spin on these songs here. And then in the middle of the song, there's a spoken word part where he talks about the Indians scattered on dawn's highway, bleeding, ghosts crowd, the young child's fragile eggshell mind. I mean, it's just it's a different kind of song. I threw it in at number 10, although I could argue that some of my honorable mentions are better songs. I just wanted to give a little shout out to that.
No, I love that song. I'm glad you put that in your top 10. I actually had that originally in my honorable mentions, but like I told you, I made a couple changes at the end, and that was the one that got cut. I love that song.
And number 9, I have Moonlight Drive. This is a song, like most good poetry, the meaning of the song is up to interpretation. This is one of the poems that Ray Manzarek heard early when they first met each other, and they turned it into a song. And I like this lyric here. It's, let's swim to the moon. Let's climb through the tide, penetrate the evening that the city sleeps to hide. Let's swim out tonight, love. It's our turn to try. Park beside the ocean on our moonlight drive. It's got that piano that set it up. And I think it's basically these young couple going out, sort of a lover's lane kind of thing, where they're parking the car and then they go for a dip. And Moonlight Drive, it's a cool song.
Yeah, that's going to be in mine too.
Okay.
Here's the other lyric though.
Go ahead.
That makes it a little different. So he says, let's swim to the moon. Let's climb through the tide. You reach your hand to hold me, but I can't be your guide.
Yes.
It's kind of, so obviously, yes, they are, he's mixing things. They're, you picture them out by the ocean and everything, but yet it's also some other kind of journey. The ocean is somehow symbolic to him. And, says, it's kind of like, yeah, I want you to come with me, but, come with me. I'm not leading you. We're doing this as a team. You're doing it on your own volition there, type thing. And Moonlight Drive is awesome. Love it.
And there's all, you could interpret the drug references in there too. Let's swim to the moon. When you're high like that, you think you can do anything. Let's climb through the tide. So it's like, you're just gone. Your eyes are ablaze and anything's possible.
Right.
So all you druggies out there, clean your act up.
Yeah, you can leave your comments and tell us what it means.
Yeah. Tell us what it's like. My number 8 is their biggest song. I didn't want to leave it off the list. That's Light My Fire. Just pure sex, drugs, rock and roll. You know that it would be untrue. You know that I would be a liar if I were to say to you, girl, we couldn't get much higher. I love the reference there. The time to hesitate is through. No time to wallow in the mire. Try now, we can only lose, and our love become a funeral pyre. So basically, we're going to take this to the limit. Who cares if we die? Let's throw ourselves in, baby.
What's awesome is, Robbie Krieger wrote the bulk of the lyrics for that one.
Robbie Krieger wrote some of the best songs, I think, in my opinion. He really, he's got 3 or 4 on my list that are his songs, not Morrison's. But that's cool. He's underrated as a guitar player too, Krieger. I think he's excellent.
Oh yeah, very inventive.
He is. Very much so. I just like the pushing. It's all or nothing, Try now, we can only lose, and our love become a funeral pyre. Love it. Number 7, I guess, is Love Me Two Times. This is like a blues rock classic. The meaning is a soldier spending his last night with his girlfriend before he's going off to war. Great passionate vocal by Jim Morrison. I'm going away, one for tomorrow, one just for today. So he's going to have sex tomorrow. He's going to have it today. He's going to get everything in with while he can, because you don't know if he's coming back. Love Me Two Times. And the way Jim goes, I'm going away. That.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Awesome. Yeah.
It's real strong. Number 6, Roadhouse Blues. One of the best kick-ass songs. Keep your eyes on the road, your hands upon the wheel. We're going to the roadhouse. We're going to have a real good time. Let it roll, baby, roll. And then at the end, he goes, do it, Robbie, do it. And that just makes it more real, because it's like a live performance. He's just telling Robbie to kick it up a notch. So, and again, it's one I had to leave in. You hear it all the time on the radio, but it's a great Doors song. I woke up this morning, I got myself a beer. The future's uncertain and the end is always near. I love that line too.
Yeah, that's my favorite line in that song.
It is. The future's uncertain and the end is always near. In other words, throw caution to the wind. Life's a crapshoot. Who knows when tomorrow might be the end for me or for you or all of us. Yeah. So let it roll, baby. Let it roll.
I always think, when he says, the future's uncertain and the end is always near, it's very prophetic on his part, considering, he didn't live much longer.
Exactly.
He had another couple years and then he was gone. And it's almost like he knew it. I don't know. Yeah. Some of the lyrics in his songs were very much like, hey, won't be here that long.
He wasn't going to be around long, so he was going to live a lot of life in 27 years,
Yeah, for sure. Okay, is it my top 5 now?
You're going to do 5, and then I'll come back and do my 5, and then we'll alternate.
Okay, cool. All right, number 5, big hit, People Are Strange.
There you go.
Down, 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 people are strange when you're a stranger. I love that song. I love the feeling that it has. Yeah. I love the way it conveys something that everybody can relate to.
Yes.
When you're new to town, everybody does seem strange. Women do seem wicked. Sidewalks are slanted. It's just everything about it gives you that feeling that everybody has had when you're the new person.
Right.
At some point, you feel, everybody seems strange to you. And I also love that just has a very 60s sound to
Yeah,
me.
does.
And it almost sounds like the music in it sounds like it could have been from a 60s horror movie. It just has that kind of feeling, you know, just kind of an eerie feeling to the whole song. And at the end, you know, when you're strange, and it has that weird chord, that different guitar chord that ends the song while he says that. And I'm like, what a perfect ending to that song. You talk about Robbie Krieger being underrated. Well, that you talk about taking a guitar line, because there's a guitar line going through the entire song, and that's just very creative right there. You're taking something and matching it to the lyrics, so you're creating this whole image that goes along with that song. That's when you can match the music to the lyrics to create a mood that perfect, that's musical genius in my mind. Right. And so, you saying, I'm glad you said that Robbie Krieger is underrated. To me, it's not like that song is overly complicated or anything like that, but it's perfect. The music is perfect for the words.
Yeah, I love that song too, and it was on my honorable mentions. I just want to give a shout out to Ray Manzarek too, because a lot of these songs are piano or keyboard driven. They don't really have a bass player per se. They bring in a session guy or whatever. But Ray does a lot with the keyboards to create a bass sound a lot of times, and he's real important to the sound of the Doors.
He gives them that oddness too, because
the difference maker between them and everybody else.
Yeah,
nobody else sounds like them. Who?
Yeah, he was definitely not a rock keyboardist.
No,
you know what I mean. He was like, you could tell his influences were jazz and things like that. And he was putting them, I think that's part, like you said, that's why the Doors have such a unique sound.
Yeah.
Those guys were all kind of different players. And when they came together, nobody sounded like that. Yeah.
Right. My number 5 is, I think your number 10, Break On Through. I had to make my top 5, and I emphasize the same lyric that you do. The night destroys the day. No, the day destroys the night. Night divides the day. Beautiful. Tried to run, tried to hide, break on through to the other side. Subtle but meaningful. And this is just how, again, reflects how Jim Morrison viewed life. Just going to break on through. I want to see what's on the other side of this and that, and how much sex I can have, how many drugs I can take. He's pushing limits. He has no fear. He's ignoring his fears. He has the fears like we all do, but he's willing to jump through and take a chance, push the boundaries. And unfortunately, it may have cost him his life, but it's a lesson for us to learn. But I don't know. Some of these guys get away with it. Some of them don't. I mean, Keith Richards is still here today, and he was doing the same kind of thing.
Yeah, you're right.
Jimi Hendrix didn't make it, and Jim Morrison didn't make it, and some of these other folks, Kurt Cobain in modern day society didn't make it, but other guys have. It's just a luck of the draw. I like this here. We chased our pleasures here, dug our treasures there. Can you still recall the time we cried? Break on through to the other side. I mean, he's sharing a moment or with a special person. Do you still recall the time we cried? So he's focusing in on that. Maybe they did drugs together. Maybe they did whatever together, and it was a special moment. But good stuff.
Yeah. It's almost like he's inviting you also, because like we say, that's the opening track. And he's like inviting the audience, break on through to the other side with us,
One more lyric here. This is part of the love story, or the relationship connection. I found an island in your arms, a country in your eyes, arms that chain us, eyes that lie. Interesting. So he's found an island. He's got that special relationship. He's hugging somebody or loving somebody, a country in your eyes. He's looking deep into somebody's eyes. And yet at the same time, arms that chain us, maybe try and manipulate us or whatever, and eyes that lie. He doesn't quite trust the person, even though he's gone there. Who knows? It's interpretive stuff. You can make,
or it could even be eyes that lie. Could be his own eyes. You know, I mean,
exactly. It's up to the person. Depends how much drugs you take. You can get a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, you know, I like songs where sometimes you can interpret them how you want.
They can cut 5 different ways, and it depends on the mood, your mood at the time, as to what you take out of it. That's the sign of great poetry, great music, great lyrics.
Agreed. My number 4, I'm not gonna really say too much about it because we already went in depth, is Moonlight Drive. It's one of my favorite Doors songs. So I guess the only thing I will add that we didn't really talk about is the music of it. Yeah. Because once again, you have Ray Manzarek, almost like a ballroom kind of sound.
It's a cool beginning. It's a cool entry.
And you have Robbie Krieger doing that.
Yeah.
That big slide in there. Once again, setting that mood for, like you say, being, you know, out on the ocean or whatever, wherever they're going, you know, that sets it. I think the music is what draws you in to that song at first, you know, and then you get into those really cool spacey lyrics that he's got. So that's my number 4.
My number 4 is one of your honorable mentions, LA Woman, title track of their last 1971 album, last album with Jim. And this is basically another one of these rambling kind of songs. It's got a little bit of everything in the lyrics. The LA, I heard it could be this woman named Linda Ashcroft who wrote a book about Jim, claimed she had an affair with him, but that was discredited by the band. That's a theory. Are you a lucky little lady in the city of light, or just another lost angel, city of night? It's a guy out looking for a good time again, driving your freeways, midnight alleys roam, cops in bars, topless bars, never saw a woman so alone. It's the street life of LA. And here's a couple of interesting tidbits as well. There's a lyric with these 4 M's in a row: motel, money, murder, madness. And that's a reference to the Manson family murders around that same time. Mr. Mojo Rising. It's an anagram of Jim Morrison. You take the letters and spin them around, it's Jim Morrison. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I always thought that was ingenious how he did that.
I mean, he obviously had to do that on purpose.
Yeah.
But the way I heard the story, he was put it up on a chalkboard and he showed one of the guys, look, if I spin this around, it's like he didn't know, but he knew. He was just fooling around. But that's a cool song. And the music behind it is great too. You know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love that song.
That's a great song. It's a great title track. And
honestly, the only reason I didn't mention it, I was pretty sure you would. So.
Yeah. Teamwork, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
teamwork.
Exactly. I thought I could leave that one out. I'll be all right.
All right, cool. Top 3.
All right. Number 3. You mentioned this in your honorable mentions, but it's got to be higher for me. And that's 5 to 1. Man, that is just a badass song in my mind. Kind of, he's, you know, it once again, it has a 60s sound to it because there's turbulence in that song. I got some lyrics, you know, the old get old and the young get stronger. May take a week and it may take longer. They got the guns, but we got the numbers. Gonna win. Yeah, we're taking over. So, you know, you've got revolution, right? Revolution of the young people. The old people are controlling everything. They've got all the guns and everything, but because they were all baby boomers, there were so many young people at that time, you know, they're going to make change. They're going to take over. You know, you might be shooting down students. You might be doing all these things in the riots and the race riots against people. Cops might be beating on people, those type things. But it's like sooner or later, we're going to take over. And he says it not so much in a peaceful way. You know, I mean, this is almost like a more violent type of takeover. Of course, you know, it's all up to interpretation.
Yeah.
You know, but the other lyrics here, he said, you know, your ballroom days are over, baby. Night is drawing near. Shadows of the evening crawl across the years. I love this. You walk across the floor with a flower in your hand, trying to tell me that nobody understands. You know, at the same time here, you know, trade in your hours for a handful of dimes. Going to make it, baby, in our prime. I don't know. What this lyric is a little confusing to me because I don't know if he's once again talking to the older generation, but the fact that he talks about walking across the floor with a flower in your hand, trying to tell me that no one understands it, almost could be like he's talking about to the hippies
that's
themselves.
What he's talking about. Yeah.
You know, that's what I think, that he's talking to them, saying at the same time, well, you're kind of full of crap too. You know, you're just whining, you know, with your flowers and all your peace and love stuff and everything. But what are you doing?
Right.
What are you doing to change anything?
Yeah.
You know,
I think you're right. I think that's exactly what he's saying.
So it's got that kind of feeling. And then that whole the way he ends it, you know, it goes real low. Get together one more time, get together, you know, then they just build it, and then it comes into another wicked little Robbie Krieger guitar solo in there, and just it just gets so basic, you know. Down.
Yeah, I like that part.
Just very militant.
Yeah,
almost like a heavy metal kind of thing at times, but then they also have the very psychedelic part going through the song too. So it's definitely something that the Doors could do because it has the very simplistic part, but then they add to it. And who else could do a good job vocally than the way Jim Morrison did? You know, somebody else would sound ridiculous trying to sing that song.
His voice is perfect for that song. It really is.
It is.
He brings that one together. I love the song. I wish I could have included it, but just missed. Had to single it out.
I included it for you, Rich.
And I knew you would.
There you go.
I said,
this is in, buddy.
I can usually pick out which songs you're going to highlight, and that was one of them. Well, you know, we know what we're doing.
Yeah,
we know each other's strengths and what we like, so that's
and we
cool.
Don't. By the way, people watching this, you know, we don't tell each other what we pick.
No, never
ahead of time. We have no idea, so it's a surprise to us too.
That's the fun part, is getting here and seeing what you have. And
hell yeah.
Yeah,
maybe cool. Trying to guess what the other person might.
Well, you know me, I'm all about the big hits a lot of times, and once in a while I'll throw a deep cut or a hidden gem in there. But anyway, my number 3 is one of their big hits. Touch Me, which actually went to number 3 on the charts. Big song for the Doors. Love it. It's got that saxophone at the end, that killer. And it sort of ends with it. Love it. The lyric here, you know, it's nothing dramatic. I'm going to love you till the heavens stop the rain. I'm going to love you till the stars fall down from the sky for you and I. It's just, you know, simple, stated. And I like the beginning of the song. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Now touch me, babe. Just jump right in there with it, you know. And it rocks, it moves. It's poppy, but it's, you know, it's got a little bit of everything in it, and it's infectious. I like those kind of sing-along songs. When that comes on the radio, I'm all in.
Yeah, it's funny because it's kind of a different style of song for the Doors. You can see why it would be a hit, because it's just basically a love song.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing like a lot of these other songs that we're really examining and saying, so what do you think they're trying to say here?
Yeah.
This is just saying, I love you.
Right.
I'm going to love you forever type thing. So it's funny that you picked that song. I remember, like, as a kid, like, whatever, high school age, that, that's when you start picking up on all the older bands and everything. So I was getting into Led Zeppelin and all that stuff. And the Doors, like, that was a song. They used to have a video of it on MTV, and they would show that all the time. And at first I was like, yeah, I don't think I like this. I remember talking to some guy he was more of a pothead kind of guy. And he's like, oh man, you got to go back and listen to the Doors. And all I knew was kind of like the song Touch Me. And I'm like, I don't know, all those horns and everything. I don't know if I can get into that. Not realizing that doesn't sound like hardly anything else that they do. And now I can appreciate that song. I used to hate, but now I like it. And I love the end of it. Like, the horns at the end, that saxophone, that's a wicked solo.
It's a jammer. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Okay, my number two is, I'm surprised that we haven't mentioned this yet, but it's Riders on the Storm. Man, we used this term a few times when we were talking about the Kinks, as far as this has to be their most cinematic song. It starts off with the thunder.
Yeah, love it.
And then that Paul Rothchild, who had produced all the other Doors songs, when they came up with this song, they had it for the LA Woman album, and he heard that, and he said, what is this bullshit? This is cocktail music you guys are doing. This is stupid. He didn't even want to work with them. He said, you guys have lost. He left. He didn't even produce that album. That's why he's not on that album. And it's funny because, you can see where he was coming from. In a way, if you were just kind of hearing that music a little bit and you're thinking, man, I don't know, is this going to go over well? But then you hear it as a whole.
Yeah.
And man, what an eerie feeling that song has. It just, Riders on the Storm, down, 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 down. That was inspired by them jamming around to Ghost Riders in the Sky. Robbie Krieger was playing that guitar line, and then they basically kind of changed it around, and that's how they got the whole Riders idea. But then Jim changed it, Riders on the Storm. And once again, just these odd lyrics that sound kind of menacing, and it references like what you were talking about at the beginning, as far as the accident that he saw when he was a child, and how that seemed to affect him, his entire life.
Right.
And it's just, you're never sure exactly what this song is talking about, but whatever it is, it's something that's you should be wary of. This is a fearful sounding song. And even the way it fades out, at the end, Riders on the Storm, his voice is just kind of fading away.
Yep.
And then, in that song, we talk about fitting the music to the lyrics. Man, that might be the best example yet. Was here was on their final, the final album with Jim Morrison. I like to think of it as the final Doors album, but I know they went on to make a couple others, but to have that song on there, just on their last album, was just fitting, very fitting. That's just, awesome song. Very mysterious.
I heard it was the last song they recorded together too. That was the last song they recorded on that album.
Really?
Yeah. And that's more fitting.
That's how it really is. It is. That's cool.
All right, cool. My number two is another one of their hits, Love Her Madly. I love this. I love the vocal on this total package. You got Krieger wrote this, very melodic.
Yeah.
It's got good pounding drums by Densmore too. You can hear that. I listened to it today. Fantastic. And of course the keyboards, You know, he's got Manzarek in there and the Morrison vocal. Don't you love her madly? Don't you love her as she's walking out the door like she did 1,000 times before? Yeah, don't you love her? You know, he gets right into it. Just
yeah.
I think he's got a pretty good voice. I mean, it's a deep voice. It's not traditionally a great rock voice, but for the songs they're singing about, he brings the emotion and the meaning through on these songs. It's a perfect unison as far as I'm concerned between the music, the lyrics, and the voice. That's why I like the Doors. You know,
I agree.
I love that song.
That song is almost like two different songs.
Yeah.
You know, the way between the verses and the chorus are just like two totally different things. It's like, I don't know if they had like a couple of ideas and they say, hey, let's just throw them together and we'll make this song. Because, you know, when you think of the verses, right. But then when it goes to, don't you love her madly? Right. And it has a whole different feel to it.
And it shows off all the instruments too, which is what I like. You got him beating on the drums. You got the piano in the middle, and the great guitar work. I like it's just awesome to me. I know it's poppy, but I tend to like these pop rock songs that have a little bit of oomph to them, but are still melodic enough that you can have that sing along quality to. That's just that's my go-to stuff.
And I like that lyric you quoted too, you know, don't you love her as she's walking out the door? Right. You know, I mean, that's obviously, you know, okay, this is probably some sort of troubled relationship. Probably shouldn't be together, but you just can't help it.
That's right. It's one of them relationships. Yep.
Yeah. So awesome pick.
All right, we're down to the big one. What's it going to be?
Number one is Strange Days.
There you go.
Love that song. Strange days have found us. Strange days have tracked us down. I just think that's fantastic. That song and the way it's got all that kind of those weird keyboards and noises in the background and a lot of reverb going on. And it just makes it sound very psychedelic. And, definitely. You know, you talk about Densmore on the drums, you know, that's another cool one right there. Just the way he's going along on that thing. Definitely a good one for Manzarek on that. And I just think the lyrics are very cool. I think it fits the times, turbulent times going on in the late 60s there. And it's like, you know, wow, what a strange time we are living in right here. These strange days, they have found us. They have tracked us down. And it just has that psychedelic feeling, but yet also, once again, because of the lyrics and the way he sings it, he brings that sense of dread to that song. Yeah. Where it's just fantastic, man. I love that song. It's got a great 60s feel to it. And that's my number one pick, Strange Day. I love that album. And that song.
All their albums are good. That's a good one too. But I like every one of their albums. There's something awesome in each one of them. Some are better than others. I agree.
Yeah, and they all have some sort of kind of their own feel to them.
Yeah.
A little bit, and even like, the Soft Parade. Yeah. That's, definitely more of a jazzy kind of album, or whatever. It has a different feel to it. But so the title, The Soft Parade, it fits that out.
I like what you said about Strange Days. They somehow knew they were living in strange days. A lot of times when you're in the period, you have to live a little bit before you look back and say, wow, those were some strange times. But they actually were self-aware of what was going on at the time,
Yeah, I think they kind of, the Stones ended up, coming around like with, like with Let It Bleed, to where, they got darker and everything. It's kind of like, yeah, okay, this peace and love thing is kind of not working. There's a violent undertone,
right,
that's going on. And I think the Doors touched on that before anybody else did.
Yeah. Very good. My number one is one that you touched on. It was your number two, Riders on the Storm. I just think it's the best Doors song. It's cocktail music or not. I love the dark tone, the intro with the thunder, and just the whole ambiance of the song, the little piano, just get you into the flow, and everything about it. I heard it was inspired by a serial killer named Billy Cook, who killed 6 people while hitchhiking to California. That was a newspaper article that Morrison based it on. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's kind of a combination.
Yeah, I think you take a little of this, a little of that. Yeah,
like a lot of the Doors things. I mean, Jim Morrison kind of combined things, and some things he put in there. You could very much see where they were coming from, and other things he changed around. He exaggerated things. He lied a lot too. He lied to the press about different things. So
yeah,
sometimes it's kind of hard to tell what was true and what wasn't. He didn't really want people to know about him that much.
It adds to the mystique.
It does.
That's what's good about it, because you can hear one theory maybe 20% accurate, another one's got another 20, and you throw them all together and you got your full story. But this was the song released in June of 71, entering the Billboard 100 as a single, and it came onto the charts and actually appeared on July 3rd, 71. A couple weeks later, it actually cracked the top 20, and the same week that Morrison died. How ironic is that? Especially an eerie song like this, that you hear it on the radio, and the news comes on, Jim Morrison just died. It's very strange. Beautiful piano by Manzarek. Love that. And it's basically about the random chaos of the universe. You can feel the storm coming on. Let your children play. If you give this man a ride, sweet family will die. Killer on the road. Yeah. It's got that on. I mean, it's not really cool to laugh and make fun of a family that dies, but it's just, it's such a beautiful song. And I remember, 1971, I was 14 years old. I remember when this song was on the radio, and I liked it then.
Wow.
And I still love it today. It's just, it actually has grown. Because I wasn't into cocktail music when I was 14, but but it was so different for a Doors song, because the other Doors songs didn't sound like this. And that's how versatile they are. They could do a song like this with the dark, brooding undertone of society, with the madman on the loose killing children, and if you give this man a ride, sweet family will die. Oh my God.
And this is off the same album that had Lover Madly.
Right. So you got the love, the death.
Yeah, I mean, different types of totally different songs right there.
Yeah. That's my favorite album, by the way, is the last album, LA Woman. If I had to rank them, that would be my number one. I like the first album too. I think they made a big splash with that first album.
Yeah. I like Waiting for the Sun quite a bit too. So, but I don't know. I haven't ever ranked them, but
Strange Days.
Yeah, LA Woman would probably be number one.
Yeah. It's got a lot of diversity on it. There's so many different types of songs and styles.
The Changeling is on there. That was one I wanted to throw in here.
I would have predicted Big Time Money. That would have been on your list, but I missed the mark on that one.
Well, you know what? I kind of, like sometimes you don't want to load one album in there too much.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because I originally had Crawling King Snake also. And I'm like, nah, I put that one out. So,
the only album I didn't have any songs from was Waiting for the Sun, and I wanted to because I liked the album.
Well, you had 5 to 1 in your honorable mention.
I had 5 to 1. I had Hello, I Love You, and Love Street. I had 3 of them on there in my honorable mentions, but they didn't crack the top 10. You had Summer's Almost Gone, right? Is that a?
Yeah.
Okay. So you had Spanish Caravan as a honorable.
Yep.
That was on there too.
Yeah. So we represented it.
I think we spread it out. What do you think of the song? The song I really wanted to get on was Soul Kitchen. I like that song, but it didn't make my list.
That's a song I never liked when I was younger, but I totally dig it now.
Yeah. It's got a certain vibe to it. I like,
I like the vocals. Definitely. The vocals definitely carry that song in my mind.
Yeah. Great. All right. Another one down the tubes, ladies and gentlemen. We take the doors and break them down. Anyway, I want to thank Gary. Physical Format. Make sure you sub this guy. He's the real deal. Check his channel out. Throw him a bone. Subscribe to him. You won't be sorry. And we're going to come back next time with a different band or artist. We don't want to give away our secrets right now, but we'll be back at some point and do another top 10 list. So for Gary, I'm Rich. Thank you very much for watching. Leave some comments and we will see you next time. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.